Good afternoon, people. Welcome to the Transfer Daily Show. I think we've been doing it for about 6-7 days. It feels like that anyway, but we're only 4 minutes late today, which is compared to yesterday, it's an absolute miracle. But welcome to the latest episode. I should be turning that off. Any exclusives, Asim, today? I don't know about any exclusives, but the show is titled as "What's the weight? What's with the weight?" The amount of messages that we've been getting, and on a personal level as well. I like to keep my DMs open. I'm always up for engaging with the fan base and my followers, and just generally chatting to Liverpool fans. But the amount of messages that I'm getting in the last 24 hours, asking what's happening, what's with the silence. Are we? Is it going to be falling through? Is it collapsed? All these messages, and I had to tweet today in the morning and say, "Relax. Big deals take time, and especially if there are any other players going the other way to Leverkusen, it will take a bit of time." But there has been some breaking news in the morning or in the last hour or so. There's another tweet and some information about Luis Diaz. I think we discussed Luis Diaz at great length yesterday. What sort of options we can get if he makes the exit this summer. Does it need to be a project signing? Does it need to be someone established? So there's so many questions that are up in the air, and we'll get those questions answered. But we're here to speculate. We're here to discuss. So get your questions in today, and I'll try to engage with the chat as much as possible. There's over 237 of you already in the building, probably rushing off from work like myself, or just trying to pretend you're doing some work, and you've got BNI in the background. But wherever it is, smash a like, people, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so. Let's go to the Wirtz news then, or if you can call it that. We had a tweet from Sasha in the morning about how the talks have been progressing since he's been on the channel. I've been keeping close contact with Sasha as well, and to be fair to him, he's been telling me all the same things that what he tweeted this morning about these deals do take time. You've got nothing to worry about. He's given Liverpool his word, and that is the main thing. And people who have been comparing this deal to the Caicedo deal last year, I think that is the biggest difference, isn't it? That he gave us his word, Caicedo didn't. And as much as we tried to hijack the deal late on, with John Henry coming with his private jet and authorizing the deal, and all that drama that we saw with the Caicedo deal, we didn't have the player's word, and that was ultimately the decisive factor. Michael Murphy says 300 people in here. Let's get the likes in today. Let's try to get it up to at least a 50% ratio of people today, because if you like the show, it gets all the algorithms, going crazy. And as much as we'd like people to have our shows on bell, it doesn't always happen. So if you get the likes going, the show is going out to a lot more people. So big up for that and all the support as well, Michael. So let's go to the first tweet. It came from Josh, as ever. Big up Josh for all his efforts, keeping all the fan base up to date. Political tweeted, didn't he? Let me find that tweet. Right here. We had one from an hour ago from Lewis Steele as well. Liverpool are confident in signing Florian Wirtz, and things are heading in the right direction for a club record move, no matter how long it takes. And I really like that. That last line, no matter how long it takes. We've got the player's word. That's the most important thing. And there's been some talk about Kwanzaa being an interest to by Leverkusen, Harvey Elliott being an interest to Leverkusen. And one thing's for sure, if there are any players involved that are going back, there might be separate deals. I don't think it'll be, okay, you give us 40 million for this and we'll give you 60 million for Wirtz. I think there'll be separate deals, but there will be obviously talks going on regarding several players, and we don't really know. We haven't pinpointed exactly who that player will be or is, whether it's Harvey Elliott, Kwanzaa, Kelleher, even though he's been linked with Brentford last night as well. I've got a feeling it might be Harvey Elliott. Now, that's a big jump for Harvey Elliott to make. It's a big career move. But I think Leverkusen have proven, and that German league has proven, that it can give young players a chance. And Harvey Elliott might be thinking, okay, Leverkusen might be going through a transition period now. A lot of players leaving, the managers left. It might be a good time just to go and prove myself. And ultimately, and most importantly, get some good minutes under his belt and prove there's a player there. Unfortunately, we require a certain number 10. If you're not a number 10 that hasn't got the legs and the physicality to get about the pitch, then this team, it doesn't have a place for you, unfortunately. He's a great lad, wears his heart on his sleeve, and he always tries his best for Liverpool on and off the pitch. And I've met his family around the ground and inside the pitch on numerous occasions, and they really come across a really good, down-to-earth, modest bunch. And whatever happens to Harvey Elliott this summer, if he makes his move, we wish him nothing but the best. Ali's in the house. If Ali's not in the house, it's not a BNR show. Big up, Ali. Asim, we need a defender and a striker. I don't want to get anyone excited. I gave a Jared Brathwaite name yesterday, and believe it or not, the people that I was talking to, or I always talk to, I trust, were watching the show as well this morning. And I got given another name today that we are looking at. Whether there is genuine interest as to if we'll, go press ahead with it, I don't know. But I can't give you that name at the moment. Maybe if I try to do a bit more digging and get that verified, I will come out. I can assure you, it's not Lukeba. It's not Lukeba. We might be interested in Lukeba. I think there was genuine interest last year, Ali. Asan, sorry. A lot of people like Lukeba, man. Straight away, when we're talking about a defender, I did some research on Lukeba and I had some stats. Andres sent me a thread. Mizgan sent me some Lukeba threads as well. And what I could tell you about Lukeba is his metrics in terms of his aerial duels and physicality are very, very interesting. The metric in aerial duels is better than Saliba. Some people might say that's not hard because Saliba is not great in the air. He's more of a progressive defender, likes to carry it, and all the dirty work is done by Gabriel. I get that. Can he replicate that physicality and those sort of numbers in the Premier League, which is more of a physical league? I think he can. Personally. He comes across as a guy who likes to tackle. That is the only downside. He is only 6 foot. We do like a big centre back, and the likes of Wirtz coming in, likes of Frimpong coming in, they're not adding to the height, and the Wirtz is adding to Liverpool's physicality, but in a different way, not natural big frame type of guy. And I think the centre backs do need to be 6 foot 3, 6 foot 2 at least, especially when you're coming in and replacing the likes of Kanate and Van Dijk when it comes to the long-term project. Gene is in the house. I can see a message here. 400 in here. Smash the like button and subscribe. And a massive shout out. I think it's just, I'm going to take the opportunity to thank people that we were stuck on 11.6 subscribers, and I'm going to have an honest conversation with you guys today that we were actually thinking, like, look, this is a really good hobby for us. It started as a hobby, but we also, I'm not going to lie to you, we want the channel to grow. That's only natural. And we were stuck on 11.6 subscribers for at least 8-9 months, where it was really, demotivating. It was, when you just constantly stuck on 11.6. But over the last, 3-4 weeks, honestly, the support, the love, the messages, the engagement that we're getting, it's been overwhelming. And so continue being on the BNR journey. Keep continuing increasing the BNR community. And without your support, we wouldn't have reached 13,000 subscribers overnight. So big up to you all. And thank you very much. And keep it going and keep spreading the word. So Lukeba, in terms of progressive passes, he's not bad. The only guys that are ahead of him are Hincapié, Bareldo from PSG, Bisek, Inter Milan, Pau Kobasi. I would have brought this graphic up on the stream, but I've had a few technical issues. Yeah, we had those yesterday as well. The guy who's made in a lab is Guardiol, who makes around 7 progressive passes a match per 90. That's absolutely ridiculous. The amount of progressive passes he makes, and we call him the guy who's made in a lab. And when you look at his numbers in terms of passing into midfield, that's what you get. But I think you can't replicate those numbers. Those are like Trent type of numbers when it comes to passes into midfield. So we're not going to get that. But I think Lukeba is a shout. There was something, I'm sure, that I saw regarding Lukeba and a release clause. I think there was a Pletigol tweet. Mo Mohammed, big up to you for sending me that earlier. It was a tweet from Pletigol. Yeah, the exclusive was the release clause for Leipzig Castello Lukeba will decrease to 65 million euros in the summer of 2026. As reported, the release clause of 90 million euros will come into effect after the current season. So it looks like David Ornstein has tweeted something about Delap to Chelsea. Okay. I'm not worried about that. If I was a Chelsea fan, if Liam Delap was leading my line, he's a decent young player. He's got the potential to be a good striker. But personally speaking, if I was a Chelsea fan, I wouldn't. It's not a wow signing. And if you've been struggling to find a striker for years, in Jackson, he does a lot of hard work. He's there. Nunes, if you like, runs the channels, causes havoc and chaos to centre backs, but ultimately doesn't find the back of the net. And if you're going to bring Delap, who's again a decent player, but if he's leading my line, I wouldn't be over too excited. There's a lot more established, strikers that we need, but you never know. They might be dipping into the market again. Super chat. Thank you very much. How do 88? Any chance that the centre back is Michael Keane would be amazing. Irony. I think he's having a laugh here. Do you think some of the hold up is with Wirtz is because we are going from Nike to Adidas? Wirtz is an Adidas player. I think with any deal, especially of the magnitude of Wirtz, there will be sponsorship involvement. No doubt about that. We live in a big social media marketing world where these sort of things are very, very important. Sometimes they're even involved in a deal where they sometimes, add to the deal where, somehow the shirt sponsors get involved, taking a percentage, how the structure of the deal between the club and the player, image rights. I can see that. Today we won't be hearing anything as well from the club side in terms of an official agreement. I don't think so. We'll be hearing it because we need to pay the respects towards the Hazel disaster, and it's the anniversary of that today. What happened in Brussels all those years ago. So for that reason, I don't think we get anything today. Frimpong, I'm told, is completely done. Everyone knows that. We're just waiting for a club announcement. I don't see Liverpool announcing both players together. We'll come to Dirk Coy shortly. So, yeah, I think there might be a hold-up. But, look, I messaged someone again in the morning because I knew I was on camera today. And I said, look, a few fans have been getting loads of messages. What's the sketch? And the reply I got, it said, they started talks a few days ago for an absolutely humongous deal. He only turned down Bayern Munich and City about a week ago or something like that, didn't he? And I think that's what fans need to realize. We have to relax a bit. As much as we're excited, we want to get the deal over the line. We all do. But as that message said, they started the official talks And then there was been a tweet. There's a back and forth between Liverpool and Leverkusen. We've already mentioned the possibility of some players going the other way. So I think people forget, just like Harry said, people forget, how big a deal this is going to be. The biggest transfer that Liverpool have made in their history. So club to club negotiations take time, and you have to respect the fact that Leverkusen have to look after their interests as well. We're seeing it from a Liverpool perspective. Leverkusen need to get the best deal. They've done part one of the deal where they've fended off the interest of Bayern Munich and not given strength to their title rival for next season. So part one for them is complete. The part two of the deal is getting the best out of Liverpool, and Liverpool are protecting all their deals. And we don't want a situation where we're further down the line in the transfer window where we say, oh, we've got no money because we've spent it all on Wirtz. Szoboszlai we needed an upgrade on Szoboszlai, but no one's going to be complaining about the actual Wirtz coming in. But we don't want the complaints later on down the window of saying we don't have the possibility to spend extra 5-10 million on another target, because it's all about, strengthening this team, strengthening all the areas that have got gaping holes that we've seen over the year 18 months, where we pissed the league, no doubt about that, but it's going to be more difficult because Man City are going to strengthen. Arsenal have got 2-3 missing pieces in the jigsaw as well, so they're going to strengthen as well. So let's see what happens. There's another question here from Farouk. Asim, how many signings do you think will be left to do? I'm thinking max 1. If we get Wirtz over the line, Frimpong over the line, Kirkez, which is, I keep getting told the same thing, that the player again has given his word, is just about that. I think Liverpool have got Kirkez and Frimpong boxed off. Now they're sorting out the Wirtz deal. We had the parade, we had the last game. I think maybe you hear something tomorrow. He joins up with the German camp tomorrow. I tried to do a bit of digging again this morning as to if he gets the go ahead from Leverkusen, that everything's been agreed. Where would the medical be? And I got a response. I'm not sure. Germany is a possibility, or he's just going to fly over to Liverpool and get that boxed off. I presume it might be a bit of both, as to the first part will be in Germany and second part might be in Liverpool, and all the media duties that will happen at the AXA training center. So if we get Frimpong over the line, Farouk, Kirkez, Wirtz, that's 3. I think we go for another 2. I've got a feeling we've got 2 more signings, a striker, and then I'm not so sure whether it's going to be a backup for Gravenberch or we bring in a centre back. So I think Liverpool will make 5 signings. I've always been early part of the summer, I was saying we're going to sign 4, but the amount of signings and activity that we've been exposed to in the last week or so, and big up to Richard Hughes. We weren't familiar with his game, who's been doing a lot of work in behind the scenes and getting these deals over the line. When, to be fair, we were thinking, what the hell is FSG doing? Messing up with the contracts. He's got 2 big deals over the line. Trent has gone to Real Madrid, of course, but he's been doing the groundwork on these deals. Shahid, Asim, can you see us going for Hato? Now, there was a bit of talk about Robertson, the comments that he came out with after the game. We've also seen kind of a goodbye with Shimikas yesterday. So we're a bit confused as to which player or which left back is going to go and make way for Kirkez. I wouldn't be against the idea of Robertson. If you gave me a choice or give me a scenario of Robertson and Shimikas leaving, and we bring in Hato and Kirkez, I'd snap your hand off. Because I think with Shimikas and Robertson, we didn't have the contrast in styles. I think, although Shimikas, I think, just on pure footballing ability on the ball, stood still, I think he's more comfortable just on the ball. Robertson is overall the better defender, overall the better player, no doubt about that. But I think we've got a good contrast there. Why? Hey, Jarell Hato can do bits at centre back. Is he tall enough long term to replace Van Dijk in that area? I'm not so sure. But I like that, where we've got a contrasting profiles of players that can do bits in both areas. Arsenal have got that player in Calafiori. I know, like Skelly has been coming in and made that place his own, and he can do bits in midfield as well from that position. Obsessed. Guardiola was obsessed with that profile of player in Nathan Ake. In what was that player? That Spanish player who went and joined. Gone. He's gone. He's a good left-sided centre back. He's gone. He won a few titles with him as well. The Spanish defender. I don't know if you're going to help me out, but Guardiola is that profile of player. But I think, look, the intensity and the pace of Kirkes will be really, really good. Hato can do bits at left back as well, if need be. If we need to protect a game, he can come on. It's always good to have different types of profile of player. Atik's in the house. We need a backup for Gravenberg. He was gassed at the business end of the season. Yeah, I think there's a few players that were gassed, and it showed the frailties in the squad. Although we did really, really well, and the manager was basically trying to send a message out of the latter part of the season saying, these are the players that you guys wanted me to play. But ultimately, that's the one, Jay. Thank you very much, Laporte. Ultimately, these players weren't good enough. The likes of Harvey Elliott, the likes of Chiesa, all these guys, although they have come, but they haven't taken their opportunity. And sometimes you only get 1 or 2 games to put an impression on the fans and the manager and give him a headache. And ultimately, these players didn't give the manager the headache. And I wouldn't be against the idea, Teak, to bring a backup. Now, that backup, I've been shouting about Stiller for the best part of a month now. I think he's that type of player, the tempo setter in midfield. He's got a good eye for a pass. He doesn't have the legs. Can he get about? But if we've got, the environment for him to excel, and I think we can, engineer more control via his, more sort of conventional discipline in midfield, I think we've got a player there. But it looks like he's agreed terms. Xabi Alonso, his type of profile or personal style was that, really brilliant midfielder who's got an eye for a pass, but he keeps things ticking over in midfield as well. So it looks like he's chosen Dean Huijsen. He's chosen Angelo Stiller to be Real Madrid players. And it's a player that we've missed out on because only a month ago there were reports Liverpool were interested in him. And which probably, leads me into Adam Wharton. And Jay says, Asim, I don't like him. I think he's a good player. But I think I just want to see a bit more from him. But to be fair to him, Adam Wharton does come across in all the numbers as in terms of metrics, he comes up really well. So there's another Asim, hope you my prediction 10 out. Wow. 6 in. If we get 6 players, I'd be very, very surprised. But it's not a long shot because I've just told you we're buying 5, so it's only one signing. But I think we'll have to do really, really, really well. And if we get 10 out this summer, I think we might just run out of time. Let's see what happens. The benefit of getting people out, especially if you want an exit plan for Luis Diaz, if you want an exit plan for Diego Jota, there is the benefit of Saudi Arabia. Now, Saudi Arabia, I think I made the prediction that I would be very, very surprised if there's at least not one player that hasn't made the move from Liverpool to Saudi this summer. All the odds are on Nunez, Jota, and Diaz. I think Nunez is on top of that list. And then maybe the player that's got more value from Jota and Diaz is Diaz. Let's talk about an 80 million bid from Ben Jacobs today. Ash is in the house. Big up, Ash. Diaz leaves. It will be 6 in. Who would you think comes in then? If Diaz leaves, we had this discussion a long time ago. There's still a lot of new faces who were probably asleep at that time of the night. Who do you think comes in? Because we had about 4 or 5 options. If I don't want, someone asked me about Gittins from Dortmund today in the morning, I wouldn't be happy with that. I want someone who's gonna not. It's easily saying guarantee me goals or guarantee me output. Nobody can guarantee you unless you're, like the creme de la creme. But I think there are a lot of players who've got a decent track record of performing, and there's always a little story and context to every player that we've mentioned last night. Like Anthony Gordon, he had a really good season. The season prior to this season, I think he got over 10 goals and 10 assists in that season for Newcastle, but then his form dipped. But every time he comes up, and Gene mentioned it yesterday, every time he comes up with a good team, big team, he's shown that he's got the cojones to perform on the big day. Then there were question marks: can he do it against a low block? Has his teams into Everton and Newcastle been counter-attacking teams? Look, I mentioned Anthony Gordon, and he gets excited. And then Rodrigo was another mentioned. But has he been playing? Has he got the output? But he's been playing on the right hand side and against prima donnas in Mbappe and Vinicius, who don't like to track back. So if anyone's going to do it, he's got the responsibility to do it. So there's a lot of factors when you start breaking things down. Imo says Due or Bakola. Bakola is probably a bit more realistic than Due, but I think Due is an impossible deal. He's their crown jewel and their young star that's going to be a superstar if he isn't already a superstar. So I just can't see it. Loren Bastien says, this is what I've been talking about. Every single time you see Arne Slot talk about Liverpool, talk about Paris Saint-Germain, as he likes to say in his Dutch/French accent. He talks about speed. He talks about duels. So whenever you get linked to a defender, the first thing we should be checking is his duel metrics. If his duel metrics are good, Liverpool will like him, especially in the modern day where it's a man-to-man press a lot of the times, aggressive presses, winning the ball up high up the field. Your DM needs to be a good reader of the game, and your defenders, especially your centre-backs who are going to be on the halfway line, need to win those 1v1 battles. And if they don't, your team is turned around and you're facing a shot on goal, and that's what you don't want. So if you can beat the cause of the root of the problem, higher up the pitch, then you're in business, because it means that you're sustaining attacks and you're pinning in the opposition. And I was just talking about Arne Slot and talking about speed merchants and 1v1 specialists. And I think especially a lot of modern coaches do try to create isolation on the wings. And we don't have that ability. We've been talking about it all season, that to really add that threat and add that quality, we need a 1v1 specialist, a person or a player who can go on the outside of a player and not be predictable. And when you do create isolation and the 1v1 situation with them, you're in business. Because on the other side, we won't see Salah taking on a lot of the players. But the beauty about Salah is he doesn't need to take on a player anymore, because as long as you got movement, as long as you got the right-sided winger making that overlapping run, or the right back overlapping him, or inside, you've got the movement and the creativity of one of the most elite playmakers in the world, and he will provide output, as we've seen week in, week out. Ash, Williams, Liao, Obakola, that 1v1 speed demon who will offer outside threat. Yeah, exactly, 100%. That's exactly what we've been talking about. We've got another super chat. Jones is important for Liverpool because he is homegrown and can do a job. I think he's sometimes slow on the ball and loses it. Liverpool is often caught on the break and the midfield is wide open. 5-star DM coming. He splits opinion. he's a bit of an enigma, Curtis Jones. On days, he looks a world beater. He beats the press. He's got the courage to put his studs on the ball and beat, come out of tight spaces and all that sort of stuff. But there's a fine line between having the courage and having the arrogance, but being too arrogant and sloppy on the ball. It's a fine line, isn't it? Showing the courage and being sloppy on the ball and hogging the ball. That's the word I was looking for. He's a player I would personally keep because I think he accepts being fourth, fifth choice in various areas. I'm not his biggest fan, but I think he can do a job. We're not going to get a 70, 80 million pound player who's going to come and do a job for us and say, okay, I'm happy to be on the bench 2-3 times out of 5. It's very hard to keep people happy. And I just saw some comments from Guardiola only last week, and he said, if we don't reduce the squad size, I'm off. And you can't create that camaraderie. And how are you going to be, telling a guy who you just bought for 60, 70 million that you're going to be on the bench every week in, week out? Sometimes you're leaving people, and we've been going on about it on a Liverpool perspective, that, how many fans, and when it comes to Enrico Chiesa, that how many fans were really gutted for the lad because he seems to be a really popular member of the squad, works hard in training, people love him in and around Liverpool and around the world. And when he doesn't make the bench, we're all upset. So unless you get an astronomical offer for Curtis Jones, like a 50, not even 50, 60, 70 million pound, then you'd look at it. Curtis Jones surely has a price like any other player because he's not indispensable to this squad. So unless we receive that, I think he sticks around because he can do a job in the number 10 area. Although Wirtz coming in and Szoboszlai being in second in line, he might find opportunities decreasing in that area. But I think he can do bits in the double pivot when we go to a number 6. I can think he can do bits in the right-sided midfielder role, like I've just said, left-sided midfielder role. But with Wirtz coming in, he might be looking at the situation thinking, I'm all of a sudden third choice in the number 10 area, and I'm third choice in the left-sided midfielder role, unless Curtis Jones is just seen as a backup to Wirtz in the number 10 area, and Curtis is seen as a backup to McAllister. So let's see what happens. Maybe McAllister, I think Jake mentioned it last night, that McAllister could get some extra minutes in the number 6 role, and we get Szoboszlai doing some shifts on the left-sided midfielder role. But still, Curtis Jones would still be second choice for me in that area. Asim, what if we try for Morgan Rogers for number 10 and Wirtz for... I can't see it. Wirtz, for me, I'd be surprised. Now, on paper, we might see it, Wirtz. But if Diaz stays con, I can't see Wirtz. Because someone asked me this question yesterday. And I'm blessed to be sitting behind on a weekly basis behind Slot. And I can tell you, Slot has mentioned Lucio wide, Cody wide, probably, and I'm exaggerating, obviously, about 1 million times this season. Now, that tells me this is a manager and a coach who likes to stretch the opposition, keeps his winger wide, especially if we like to keep Salah a little narrower. I think it was Diaz or Gakpo that was interviewed around maybe November, December time, and they were asking Gakpo, have you seen any different changes in your role? And he said, not much. Obviously, I got caught in midfield last year, and he discussed those issues that he had last year. But he mentioned it, that this manager likes to keep width because Salah is a little narrower. So we have to have someone making space for central progression. We have to have someone touching hugging the touchline and keeping that width. So because of that reason, I don't see Wirtz starting from that area. He will obviously pick up those pockets of space coming from the number 10 position, but I still see Cody Gakpo / Diaz or whoever we bring in if Diaz leaves for being that natural. Wirtz is gonna, I think he's a bit too predictable in that area where he's going to come inside and Kirkez is going to come. Let him roam around because we've got the control. We're going to give him the environment to go from the left half space to the right half space, come in deeper to pick up the ball from midfielders and centre backs. So I think we might see him flourish in that area. And then you have to understand Liverpool's press is very structured. It's very instigated by the number 10 a lot. The number 10 jumps on the press a lot. So we said it. Maybe that's the reason why the likes of Rayan Cherki, who was a cheaper option, but his metrics off the ball just don't appeal to Liverpool. His creative numbers and on the ball numbers are unbelievable. They stack up to anyone in the world. His underlying numbers, but when it comes to leading the press, we can't promise that Rayan Cherki is going to do that job. And that's the only reason I think Harvey Elliott is not fancied. His physicality, he can't lead the press, he can't jump and get back in as well. Wirtz is the creme de la creme on the ball, and his intensity, his counter pressures are unbelievable for a lad who's so good on the ball and so creative. So he gives us best of the both worlds, and that's why we're going to pay the top dollar for him. There's still 568 people in the house, people. We've got about 5 minutes left of the show. I don't know how many likes we're on. Let's try to get it up, because I can assure you in around 100. So let's try to get that up to 200-300, please. And subscribe to the channel. I'm just going to quickly check if we've got any super chats missing. Nope. Any questions? You got 5 minutes to ask me. So get them in. Lukeba. We've discussed Lukeba got fried. Who do you think we're going to sign as a striker? We were discussing this last night, Lauren, and I'm sure we're going to be discussing it for the next 3-4 weeks as well. Ekitike is the name that I keep getting. I'm not his biggest fan. I discussed it yesterday that he's a guy who takes a lot of shots, but he misses a lot of chances. Yes, he's missed a few penalties that has harmed his conversion rate, but he's underperformed his XG by 5 goals this summer. And what will appeal to the nerds at Liverpool is he does take a lot of shots, but what the concerning thing is he doesn't take a lot of shots from a distance. So if his XG is decent, what he's supposed to be scoring on a normal, in normal circumstances, he's missing those chances. So look, these nerds will have more underlying numbers that what we're open to on various websites. I've got a few data guys who send me loads of stuff that you can't get on websites, but that's what sticks out to me. So the good thing about Sesko is he's got a bit of Nunes in him, where he does like to shoot from every angle. But the thing that I like about Sesko is his conversion rate is good, and from low XG type of metrics, he's still racking up good numbers. So that will mean, I think, he's got a really good high ceiling. I think Sesko's got a higher ceiling than Ekitike, but are they seeing a need for the striker to be still a facilitator who comes in? Because if you just jog your memories back to the preseason, we had basically 2 number 10s. I think that first game where Jota was coming in the left pocket. Do they want the striker still to be doing that, or is it going to be a more of a natural 4-2-3-1 where Wirtz will be occupying central pockets and being that orchestrator from the central from the center of the pitch, and then we've got more of a number 9? And I was asking the question to the lads yesterday: if you've got Wirtz and if you've got the creativity of Salah on the other side, and then someone like Diaz or Gakpo on the left wing, does it diminish the need for a facilitator, if we're going to use that word, in the number 9? Can it be more of a conventional box striker? If it can be, then do the likes of Osimhen, do the likes of Gyökeres at Sporting Lisbon, does it increase the need for someone like a Sesko? And I think those start coming into your line of thinking. Then I would I would obviously choose someone like Julian Alvarez, Isaac. That is the dream number 9 for Liverpool. But I think with Newcastle getting Champions League, Julian Alvarez, we're told we did like him. We asked for him. Rumi is in the building. Big up. He says Alvarez. But if I'm honest, I'd be very, very, very surprised if we get Julian Alvarez off Atletico Madrid. They see him as a massive, massive part of the squad and the team. They see him. He only came in a year ago for a massive fee. And then in terms of his personal choice, apparently he didn't like England because of the weather. He didn't settle. His family didn't settle. So let's see. There is a price on a player. Maybe he's seen Liverpool's success this year. Maybe he's been talking to his best mate in Alexis McAllister, and he does make that jump, and it does help him to settle. I don't know. Let's see. The best thing Liverpool could do is put a bid in and see what happens. A last super chat, a late one. Songs Surface Corp. Thank you very much. Watch out, Real is trying to hijack the deal. They'll be sniffing around. They always sniffing around, but I don't think they hijack the deal. Even though we put a thumbnail out for the first 10 minutes of last night's show, but I don't think they hijacked the deal. The player has given us his word. I think we can trust the player. We can trust his family. And I think we will get this done. I think if we don't hear something by Friday, we could hear something over the weekend going into early parts of next week. I think the push and what I'm being told is Liverpool are trying to act as quickly as possible. And then the attentions will go towards recouping some of that money. If we actually list some players that we can get money for, I think we could get the best part of 150 to 200 million, depending who leaves. If Diaz and Nunes go this summer, we could easily get 200 million. Add Kelleher to that, add Harvey Elliott to that. So, I tweeted about a couple of weeks ago that Liverpool will spend gross 250 million to 300 million. I think we'll easily reach that when we get everyone in. If not, we might even go over the 300 million mark. But once we recoup the money, I think net will probably be around about 100 to 150 million. And that's what you have to call great business and a great summer, where we've strengthened the squad, we strengthened the team, and we've got rid of Deadwood. And that's what bringing the likes of Richard Hughes and Michael Edwards will go. These guys will be succession planning. They'll be looking at deals and waiting to pounce on different situations. But we've been going over 42 minutes now. That's what the idea is, a quick lunch time show for you guys and engaging with all the different time zones around the world. There's still over 500 people in here. So like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so. We are back tonight. I think it's Gene, myself, and I think Avi's in the building as well. But we'll confirm that later. But thank you very much for being so engaging as ever. We'll catch you tonight. And we're back on the Transfer Daily tomorrow, where you'll be joined with, I think it's Gene tomorrow. Lauren, great video. Thank you very much for all the love and support. We catch you in the next one. Take care and bye for now.